Hello everybody and welcome to today's Full Potential Show. I'm James Rick and this is your #1 non-boring source for personal development, and today we have a treat for you. Brian Benson, I call him the Renaissance Man. He's also known as the Guitar Man. He's a multiple award-winning author, filmmaker, speaker, actor, musician, entrepreneur. He's been in over 50 triathlons, 4 Ironman distance races. He's got a couple of books out that have really done well, and he's got a movie out that's actually available on his website called Guitar Man. You may have seen it. Brian, we'll talk more about your story, but thank you so much for being on today's Full Potential Show.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me, James. It's great to be here.
I was telling you before the show started that I don't know how I'm going to cover everything you've got going on, but we'll try to touch on as much as we can.
Sure.
So, tell me what drives you to do all these things. I mean, you've got so many, and what is your focus? Like, you know, there's so many people that try to do a lot of things and then not everything gets done, but it seems like you're doing a lot of these things too. So what drives you and how are you getting these things done when you've got so much going on?
Sure. Basically, you know, I feel like I've always been pretty good at listening to my intuition and my guidance, and I just kind of follow what I feel like I'm supposed to do, what brings me happiness. So, you know, with the books, the film, the triathlons, all those things, they pretty much came about for me as I was stepping out of my comfort zone, and they just kind of, they were gifts that just kind of helped me land and toward my own personal growth and head out and evolve in, you know, the direction that I'm heading. And
when you said I'm going to do all these triathlons or all these Ironmans and stuff, I mean, is it the challenge for yourself? You just want to challenge yourself?
Well, originally when I started doing them, I had a knee injury, and I set a goal for myself because I had a few buddies who had done a short one, and I thought that really sounded like a great thing to work toward. And this is way back in 1987, kind of when triathlons were fairly new, but I did it. I really felt good about myself. I just felt alive, and I just knew I had to do more of them. And as I got into triathlons, I learned about the Ironman, and I go, you know, that's something I've got to attempt as well. And then just kind of came about a couple years after I did my first short one. And it just kept building. You know, I never felt so alive than when I was out on my race course that day. You know, it wasn't about my time necessarily, but just being out there and just living. And yeah.
You found, in setting that goal and in doing something, you also found what created that sort of flow state, and you let that be your guide, is what I hear you saying. Like, what made you feel alive is what you wanted to do.
It definitely did. And having accomplished a couple of Ironmans at a young age, it really just gave me the confidence to kind of move toward other areas that I wasn't totally comfortable in. And being kind of a shy person at the time, and who really kind of had, you know, worried about what other people thought, you know, it was very freeing for me. And everything else that I've done kind of since then, you know, they all kind of had to do with my self-growth and my expanding what I'm capable of and sharing my gifts, but yet, you know, it's all about personal growth. And then I just kept landing.
So you've got, you know, several hearts right now that want to grow, that want to expand. The people that are watching right now, you know, can be inspired by your stories and by the things that you've got going on in your life, and at the same time desire to grow and experience the things that'll make them come alive as well. What are some of the strategies that have allowed you to live this life of balance and also push beyond the boundaries of, you know, the fears that I'm sure we all share that did not stop you from doing the things that you've done?
Sure.
What advice would you have for them, or what strategies do you think are important that they take away from this interview?
Well, as I continue to move forward, I realized 3 years ago I was in a job that really was not fulfilling for me at all, and I wasn't growing there anymore. And being the driven person that I am, I came up from first of all, I wanted to figure out why I was out of balance. It was because, I needed to leave there. And the second thing I did, I thought, hey, why not come up with a couple of things that I knew kept me in balance? So I just put my little self-awareness cap on, wrote them down, stuck it in my pocket, and every day thereafter I felt out of balance, I'd make sure I was doing those things I wrote down. It really helped me. I thought, hey, why not expand the list and make it into a book? And that's how my first book came about. And I was really blessed. It won a couple of awards, but for me, I think balance is really one of the three keys that we need to have in our life to have a platform, a base to operate from.
And now that book is called Brian's List. And what's the subtitle on that, Brian? 26 and a half ideas.
Easy to use ideas on how to live a fun, balanced, healthy life.
And that book took off. I mean, so you were basically creating this list for yourself, right?
Absolutely. I had no plans to make a book. I was just trying to help myself at that moment of need.
And it's interesting that you took that approach, because I feel like of all the things that I've done, the books and even doing the show, it's also been for my own personal growth. Like, I know that as I focus on these things that I'm going to share with somebody else, I'm going to have to get my thoughts really organized. Or I know that by doing so many of these shows, it's all going through my brain too. It's all going through my being too as I share it.
Sure.
So I think that's really a lesson there is, what do you want most for yourself, and can you find a way to share that with others?
Yeah, there's that quote, we're here to teach what it is that we need to learn ourselves, and that was totally spot on for what's been happening with me.
Absolutely. And now, what are some of these balance ideas, Brian, that you think are really critical? Maybe the top 3 or so.
Well, my original top 5, and I'll just give you 3 of them.
Okay, no, give me all 5. I want them.
Okay.
What are your top 5?
Drink enough water. And it's basic, we all hear it, but we forget. Make sure I get enough sleep. That was number 2. Number 3 was make sure I got some daily exercise. That just does so much for you. Number 4 is make sure that I spent some time alone every day, because that's how I regenerate. Some people need to be around people, but for me, I need quiet time. And the 5th one was to make sure that I was allowing myself some time every day to be creative, whether it was to write or to play my guitar or what have you. But those 5 things really, really helped me a lot.
It's interesting, because a lot of what I tell people in creating a routine is to establish what is that high value routine for you. And I hear you hitting on some of the key ones that for myself as well, and actually a couple that I want to add. So you just came up with this because you got aware of what made you feel balanced, and then this became the core of your routine every day, right?
Definitely.
And still is. And then you kind of expanded it to 26 and a half ideas, but those are still your core 5?
Definitely.
And
yep.
You want to run those down real quick again?
Sure.
Yeah, go.
Drink more water.
Drink more water.
Get some daily exercise.
Daily exercise.
It could be going to the gym, walking, what have you. We're all different. Get enough sleep. Mm-hmm. Allow yourself some alone time every day, whether it's meditation, going for a walk, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then allow yourself some creativity, to be creative.
Okay, great ideas for balance. As we come to a conclusion in this interview, I mean, there are 26 and a half ideas. You've got this other book about going from, basically we're cavemen in today's world. What is the name of that book?
That one's called Caveman No More, Be a Balanced, Authentic Man in the 21st Century. And that one is for guys. And then I have another ebook called The Art of Balance, and it's kind of a combination of Brian's list as well as my balance workshops. And then I've got one that's called Discover Your True Self, and that talks about the story of how my knee injury led me into triathlons. And then
where can you find all this stuff? I know you got a website.
Yeah, on my website it's brianbenson.com.
That's brianbenson.com. And before we wrap up, tell me about how you got into Guitar Man. And I know that you've got it's an 8.5 minute movie, and this is on your website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I work on stepping out of my comfort zone and knowing, I knew that I was going to have to be in front of people with what I'm doing, speaking, workshops, etc. So I forced myself to take some speech classes. I started taking an acting class, which I found out I really enjoyed and did well at, which surprised the heck out of me. And that led me to getting 5 days of work on a feature film that was filmed in Reno earlier this year. And then I just kind of got the wheels spinning, and I just came up with this idea to write this little movie short about this kind of semi-homeless guitar player on the streets of Reno, and found a young filmmaker, and we went out and filmed it. And there's a lot of great messages in it. It's 8.5 minutes. It's been accepted to 10 film festivals so far, which blows me away because I've never done it before. So there's just a lot of great inspirational messages in it, and
the key there is really you stepped out of your comfort zone to do it. Here you are, this introvert transforming into this extrovert, doing a movie. The movie's called Guitar Man. And one thing I really love about Brian is that he realizes these areas where he can push out, and you have a decision. You have a decision to either stay the way you are or to push out of your comfort zone. And I think that's really a central message in what you're talking about here. To make a great life, you have to be willing to do things that are greater than what you're comfortable with right now. And that applies in balance. And some of the things that you've already given us in terms of what we can do to live a more balanced life, but that also applies in things that push our personal development, push the envelope. And I think you're really good at that. And if you want to give any final thoughts on how you do that, because there really is a difference between those who push the envelope and those who kind of settle within what's comfortable, because there's that fear barrier. What makes the difference for you, Brian? What makes you push that little bit more to get outside of that comfort zone?
I don't know. It's just I have no choice. but I think like you're saying though, in what I've learned, James, too, is you build momentum every time you do it. And I kept landing on my feet, and I realized that this fear, there really wasn't a whole lot to be afraid of, because I wasn't in pain going through it. Wasn't embarrassed, what have you. I mean, people, they respect it that when people, we all have fears, and we all have things that are holding us back. So just step into them, and you'll learn a lot about yourself. You will become yourself. That's the main thing. When we are truly being ourselves and honoring our own gifts, because we all have gifts, and they're all different than everybody else's gifts, that's when we'll really find true fulfillment.
And really in the process, and this is really what the Full Potential Show is all about, in becoming the highest version of ourselves, which is the way I put it, of becoming who you are truly meant to be. There's going to be a lot of pushing the garbage, the fear and everything out of the way to become that. And the way you put it is you're becoming yourself in that process. So it really is a wonderful thing. Really appreciate the inspiration and the tips on how to live a balanced life. I encourage everybody to watch the movie. It could not be easier to get some of the lessons from this man. And you have all your books and everything on the website, gbrianbenson.com, and the 8.5 minute movie is right there on the homepage.
Yep.
8.5 minute Guitar Man. It's coming to a film festival near you. Brian, I wish you the best of luck on it, my friend, and really appreciate having you on the show today.
Thank you, James.
Take care.
Cheers.
All right, and everybody be sure and like and subscribe to the Full Potential Show so you can get more great insights from people like Brian and freebies that you'll only find right here on the Full Potential Show. Take care, Brian.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Full Potential Show, your #1 non-boring source for personal development. I'm James Rick, and if you want to get more positive programming for your brain absolutely free on a weekly basis, just visit fullpotential.com.
If you like the Full Potential Show, you're going to love the Full Potential Club. What would you like most as a Full Potential Club member? Be 2 to 3 times more productive? Do what you're passionate about? Have more energy? Reduce your work hours? Travel the world? Enjoy an amazing lifestyle on a frugal budget? What if you could do them all? James Rick has been there and done it in ways that few people have. For anyone serious about taking their life or business to the next level, you've got to do more than just watch. You've got to do. Join James Rick and other like-minded people for an incredible $10 a month at fullpotential.com/club. Be educated. Be empowered. Be the best version of you. fullpotential.com/club. Try it free for 30 days.